All right, guys. Good afternoon, good morning, good night, depending on what time of day you see this video. This is Mr. Argueta coming to you week number 3. All right, so let me give you a couple updates. I got some notes here that I want to go through with you. Update number 1 on McGraw-Hill. We're all sorted out, with the exception of maybe one student now, and then one that's being worked on in regards to getting some grades updated. It has nothing to do with the upgrade itself, but just resynchronizing. Everyone else seems to have gotten it all set up, so we are seeing grades the way they should be. No grades, I just want to make this clear, no grades were actually affected. All the grades were recorded. The issue was not recording your grades or having records of your grades. I can see all the times that you guys log in, how long you logged in, how long you were on, what questions you went to. It literally records all processes of what you do. So again, I mentioned this because I don't want you to feel uncomfortable with somehow a grade got lost. All of your information was stored properly. It was a matter of the two systems speaking to each other, so that connection between both of them was having some issue. They resolved that after speaking with some developers, and we're all set to go. So I'm happy to report, everyone's grade should be safe and now linking properly to McGraw-Hill to Blackboard. All right, that said, I want to have a conversation about discussions because I think it's important for you to understand that I get, guys, I'm not naive. I get that this is an online class. You have access to the internet. The work that you do in McGraw-Hill, that's not how I necessarily determine what you understand of this context. I do it by discussions. So of course the last couple of weeks have been crazy with figuring out these details on McGraw-Hill. So I have not been able to grade your discussions. I will start that process today, which is Tuesday. So you'll start seeing some grades populate for that. I appreciate your patience on that. But that's how I determine that you are understanding the information. That's why, and I want to emphasize this, your discussion is 30% of your overall grade. And there's only like 6 discussions. So each discussion is worth a major portion of your grade because that's how I can see that you are understanding this topic. Um, all the other work that you see, it's necessary, yes, to expose you to the information, but get our mind out of that mentality of like high school or any other elementary school, grammar school, whatever you did. This is not, that's not this. That's busy work that should be done to support your conversation in this topic. The real world does not test you with exams or quizzes or vocabulary or whatever it is. It's what you say, is what you do. And if you don't understand business, I don't care what degree you get, it's garbage. So you just, you could cheat your way through the system, but the system will catch you eventually. Nobody would hire you if you don't understand what you're speaking about. So I want to be very clear in regards to how I operate. All your other professors can do something differently, but the way I operate is I judge you based on what your discussion topic is. I can tell when you are speaking professionally and educatively about a topic, and that's what the world is like in business. They're not going to accept just a piece of paper that you went to college. Well, whoever promised that is being untrue to you, because the reality is that business will judge business, and you have to know the terminology, you have to know the concepts of this, you have to understand how to apply this to your everyday life. That's it. That's my soapbox for the week. So I will be grading your discussions this week. I read through every single discussion. So please make sure you're putting effort into that concept. This week or last week's discussion was really interesting because we talked about ethical perspective. And many of you understood the topic right away. You got it. You understood it. You did a great job. I was reading through some of them already. You understand the concept on how the decision process takes place, how it's adapted to the business environment. and so on and so forth. So I'll be finishing off those hopefully within this week, and you should have an accurate grade. So we are on week 3, which is a very crucial week because week 4 is your midterm, which is next week. So in the midterm, I want you to understand a couple of things about that. One, it's going to be multiple choice, and it's questions that you have already seen in your first 4 weeks. So I recommend you do your midterm as the last part of your week next week because you're going to need the information from that week to complete the midterm properly. So this shouldn't be that difficult. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Put things in perspective. The midterm and the final equal out to 10% of your grade, but there's only one of each. But each discussion is about 5%. So it's almost like each discussion is a midterm. Each discussion is a final. So put that in your mind as a perspective and what impacts your grade the most. I know there's some people have reached out to me and they've had some issues and couldn't do all the work. Not too worried about that, and I'll explain more next week. I'm more worried that you're completing your discussions than I am you're completing a quiz. Yes, a quiz is important because that's going to come back up, but your discussion is going to really impact your grade. All right, this week's discussion is called a SWOT analysis. Now, we use these tools in business a lot. There's several analyses that you do in business, a SWOT, a pastel. Then you do all these different, type of calculations when it comes to ratios and debt equity ratio and all these different things, which you'll get into when you go into the accounting part of the business. But in management and in managing a company or learning how to run a business, you are going to do a lot of what's called analysis, not only of your own business, but of the environment in which your business exists. So, for example, if I wanted to start so the Caribbean and Central and South American culture has this great food called an empanada. For the people who don't speak Spanish, an empanada is like a fritter. It's like an apple fritter. It's a fried dough with stuffing inside of it. But in the Latino culture, they'll put meats in it and they'll put chicken in it and whatever. Either way, that being said, say I wanted to start an empanada business in this area, and I'm going to use a SWOT analysis to start my research on, is this a good business for the area? So SWOT analysis is an acronym, and it stands for strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Now, the strength and weakness are internal. They're not external. They're not environmentally affected. There's what I bring to the table. And let's say I'm going to do a quick SWOT analysis so you understand what I'm saying. There is a chart that they do. It's like a T, right? And you do SWOT. And in those boxes or quadrants, or you enter these, what they are. Right. And what I want you to do is do a SWOT analysis of a company you're aware of or recognize or a local business. So in my make-believe empanada business, I used to use a taco truck, but started getting old. But in my empanada business, my strength is that maybe I could make good empanadas better than anyone else I've ever had. Right. This isn't true. I'm just making this up. But let's say I could do some really good empanadas, and my empanadas are, for the sake of going into detail, they're Puerto Rican based with Puerto Rican flavors and Puerto Rican meats. The Puerto Ricans make this like roasted pork called pernil, and it has a pernil, it has a good barbecue, good pork flavor, and so on and so forth. That Cubans make a really good one. They call them pastelillos, but they're like basically like a fried dough with guava and some cheese in it. And it's delicious, and powdered sugar, and it's fantastic, especially with a cup of espresso coffee. I can't go a week without talking about coffee, guys, so bear with me. So my strength is that I make these really good. I only use top ingredients. I am a variety of flavors. And then the weakness that I have is that maybe there's not a large Caribbean population in this area. There's not a lot of Dominicans, which there are in Dalton, but let's say I start in Rome or Calhoun. There's not a large Caribbean population. So uh, that's a weakness. Another weakness is maybe people don't understand what this is, right? They just don't know what it is. The culture locally, they've never really had these, right? Well, so the opportunities and threats are external, or what's happening on the outside, right? And the opportunity for me is that I have a whole new audience that has never tried this, right? Maybe if I went to Miami, there's an empanada everywhere, right? There's competition all over the place. But in Calhoun or Dalton or Rome or Walker County, maybe no one's making these. So the opportunity is that I have no competition. There's externally, there's no one selling these. But what are some of the threats? Some of the threats are maybe people don't like fried stuff. Maybe there's a healthier conscious in my environment. Maybe that's why quinoa bowls and acai bowls are doing well here, because people are thinking more consciously, and when they see something fried, they associate it to unhealthy foods. So the external factors can impact my business. So I hear this a lot from people that come to us and say, I have a great business idea. I make the best apple pie ever. And every time I bring apple pie to church potlucks, the people say, you need to start a business. And then they go, well, I make a great apple pie. Everyone loves it. And they start a business, and then the business fails. And they go, I don't know what happened. And what happened was they never analyzed their environment. Maybe in the area, people don't care, right? They would rather just go to Walmart and buy apple pie, right? They would rather just go to Target or wherever local grocery store and buy a generic apple pie. Or it's so easy, anyone can make it, it's easy as pie, as they say. So opportunities and threats on the external environment didn't allow my business to succeed if I'm offering something that's so easily accessible. And not everyone cares to have a more expensive, high quality apple pie. So I'm hoping that your business mind is working here. So when you analyze a business, it's not just about I have this great idea, but it's, does my environment allow this idea to flourish? Does my environment give me the opportunity? So a lot of times people will say, and I read this a lot, they'll say like, I don't know why there's no entertainment stuff for kids in this area. Well, that's probably because there's no opportunity. People think there is, but the financial aspect of it does not support that idea. Why do you think Target doesn't build a store in Dalton or in Calhoun? Because they do analysis that tells them that the average family in this area makes $45,000 to $50,000 a year, which makes them a prime customer for Walmart. That's why you find Walmarts everywhere. 2 Walmarts, 3 Walmarts in Dalton, 2 Walmarts in Rome, 1 Walmart in Calhoun, because the average family can't afford a Walmart, but they cannot afford a Target. They will not spend the extra dollar for that. So it's an analysis that gives us that information. All right, last thing I want to talk about before I end this video is week 4. Don't forget your midterm. Make sure you're studying those questions you've seen already, multiple choice. I have some surprising news next week I'll talk about that will help everybody out. So keep tuned to that. Make sure you reply to this and to 2 other students' posts, and also include your original post. All right, guys, thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for being supportive of this process. I appreciate you. And you guys have a wonderful week. Stay dry. It looks like it's going to be raining this week. And that's it. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon.